Okay, all
Hi,
set.
everybody. Hi, everybody that will be watching this later.
Right?
Okay, I'm starting off. That's right. I am starting off. This is good. Okay. First of all, thanks to everybody who shared on our Facebook page. Just to kind of recap, the assignment was where our negative talk comes from, where what we tell ourselves, and what we're vulnerable to, where it comes from. And so it's so important that we start off with that's where, when we can identify where our negative self-talk comes from, it can be difficult, it can be uncomfortable, but very enlightening, and very thank you for everybody that shared, because it takes a lot to identify that and to own up to it, and then the next step is taking responsibility for it and moving forward, taking that information and moving forward. And if you know what, there are a lot of people that you might not feel comfortable sharing on the page, but make sure that you share that with someone. Write it down. Talk to somebody who can help you and listen to you and identify that with you, whoever that might be. Okay, the chapter 1, it was just an intro, so we don't really need to recap that. But Christy, you're doing chapter 2, right?
Chapter 2.
Okay.
Yep. So obviously we're not going to reread the book to everybody. Hold on. There you go. We're not going to just read the book to everybody, but there are a few things that I thought were super important. So, for instance, if there are so many keys to success, why aren't they working? And truly, if you saw the amount of self-help books on my bookshelf, you would assume that I am like the most successful, greatest leader ever, because I have bought and read and highlighted every single book. But the problem is our programming, which is what we're really going to get into in this book. So he gives us some pretty crazy stats. One of them is, how many times have we heard the word no or been told no since we were born? I'm sure it depends on how old you are, but on average, we have heard no 148,000 times. That's a lot of no's. And as mothers, like, I'm afraid to think of how many times I have said no. So if you combine how many times we've heard no with how many times we have said no, like, the most positive person ever is still going to have a lot of negativity in their mind. So 75% or more of our programming is the wrong kind. And he talks about repetition is a convincing argument. So again, let's just, think about, just in a day, how many times you think, I'm not going to be able to get that done. I'm too busy to do that. Or I don't have time to call her. Kids, get off the TV, stop doing that. Like, every single one of those comments are negative. Some of them may be true, but what we're going to really try to do is rephrase and rethink how our mind works. Because the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So I'm a pretty firm believer in the Bible and following Christ. And that's a powerful statement. Yeah, I don't think it ever meant much to me. I mean, as you think it. So kind of my thought when I read that scripture, how many ever times I've read it, is like, hey, don't think about murdering your husband's ex-wife. Like, don't think about like murdering your kids when they make a huge mess right before company's coming over. But turning that around and thinking positive and becoming that person, like he tells us that's possible. Most of you have probably heard of Ben Carson, because he ran for president for this election, but obviously is not in the running anymore. But he is the most celebrated pediatric neurosurgeon in the world. All of those words just scare me to death. Pediatric, neurosurgeon, all of those. He is the best, most famous one out there. So if you ever get a chance, he has a few books that he's written, but one of them is called Gifted Hands, the Ben Carson story, and it's a super easy read. I read it in like 4 days. I was blown away because I read it in conjunction as I've slowly been reading this book, how much he used self-talk. So he came from, right, he and his brother were raised by a single mom who literally had no chance at success. Their mom only had a 3rd grade education. She couldn't read at all, but she wanted her boys to be successful, and she poured success and love into them their whole life. And I could read you a million things from this book that indicate how he used self-talk, because he used it before surgeries. He used it in trying to decide which surgeries to take on. He used it in school. But this is just a brief quote from that book that will give you an idea. And the background is he got into Yale. And when he got into Yale, he thought, like, I'm smart just like everybody else. And he's like hanging out in the dorm, and kids are talking about, what did you get on the SAT? And what did you get? And what did you get? And he's like, every one of them got 1550 in their math, or higher. Like nobody got below a 1500. And he's thinking to himself, holy crap, I didn't get anywhere near that. I got in because I'm Black and from lower income. He filled a minority spot that they needed to fill, not because he was as smart as everybody else there. And so he began to really doubt himself and doubt his ability. And he was failing chemistry. He's getting ready to take the chemistry final exam, and he knows he's going to fail. He also knows if he fails this chemistry class, he cannot finish a pre-med undergrad, which means he will not be a doctor, and he has wanted to be a doctor his whole life. So here's just a quote from him. This is him talking to himself in his head. It says, despair washed over me as memories of 5th grade flashed through my mind. What score did you get, Carson? Hey, dummy, did you get any right today? Years had passed, but I could still hear the taunting voices in my head. What am I doing at Yale anyway? It was a legitimate question, and I couldn't push the thought away. Who do I think I am? Just a dumb Black kid from the poor side of Detroit who has no business trying to make it through Yale with all these intelligent, affluent students. I kicked a stone and sent it flying into brown grass. Stop it, I told myself. You'll only make it worse. I turned my memories back to those teachers who told me, Benjamin, you're bright. You can go places. There, walking alone in the darkness of my thoughts, I could hear Mother insist, Benny, you can do it. Why, son, you can do anything you want, and you can do it better than anybody else. I believe in you. And he passed. And he is now one of the most recognized surgeons in the world. This book is 300 pages full of instances like that. And, I originally wanted to start this book because I wanted it to help grow our Plexus team. I am realizing that it is growing me as a parent. My oldest son came home from college, and he is having some serious trials. And one of them is an eating disorder, because he used to be really fat growing up and huge buck teeth and braces forever, and was very not what you would describe as a cute kid. I would describe him as a cute kid, but you would see a picture and go, he's sweet and he's wicked smart. And that's what we told him his whole life. You are so smart and you're really kind. He has come home from school with an eating disorder, and we started talking, and he said, Mom, I know I'm smart, but I'm looking at all these kids, and they're fit, and they're this, and they're handsome, and how many girls will it take to tell me I'm handsome before I feel attractive, until I feel like I can eat, and I said, it doesn't matter how many tell you that, because the second one tells you you're not, you're going to feel unattractive again. That is my bad. I never told you how handsome you were growing up. You don't believe that you are. So now we have to change that, and I have younger kids. So how I'm going to raise them, like how I, do affirmations with Andrew every morning, are just different. So this book is about so much more than Plexus and business. This is about us as women. So I'll finish up the chapter. Sorry, we will get done in 30 minutes. Page 25, I really like how it talks about you will become what you think about most. Your success or failure in anything, large or small, will depend on your programming, what you accept from others, and what you say when you talk to yourself. We're going to become what we think about. And I want to add one more thing, because you guys are all reading this book, but as I mentioned in the first video, I am also reading this book by him, The 365 Days of Positive Self-Talk. And in it, it's got self-talk for each day, and those have been the things that I have been posting on the page, but there also are self-talk tips. This is one of them. This blew me away. So for people like my husband who are like, this is hogwash, keep talking to yourself, oh ye, glass is half full, Christy. Here's the thing. This is scientifically proven. People who think negatively form more neurons in the right prefrontal cortex of their brains. That causes them to close off opportunities and ideas that could have helped them succeed. When you're thinking negatively, your brain is also processing potential solutions at a slower rate. Why? Because it's busy dealing with fright, fight, or flight instead of focusing on the positive solutions that could have solved the problem. So I could read you more, but he talks about when we think positively, it grows neurons in the other side of our brain. And as that grows and strengthens, we learn to find solutions in the midst of our problems. I thought that was really cool because that's science. Like, that's not like, hey, this guy's got a good idea. So Deanna, you want to go have anything else to say or go to chapter 3?
Mumbo jumbo. It's real.
It's real.
You know me. I'm not a half cup full, half cup empty. I'm a cup overfloweth. I'm over always.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my upbringing. That's me personally. That's how I feel. That doesn't mean that I haven't had trials and things and stuff that are disappointing. But that is so true, that when you think of solutions to problems rather than problems to solutions, it makes a huge, huge difference in your life. Okay, so chapter 3 talks about missing ingredient. There is a missing ingredient because Christy's bought all the books. She has all the books. You can go to the bookstore and there are not just a few shelves, but there are aisles of self-help books. And, you can listen to speakers, you can go to training, but we're missing something. And so that's what it's getting into, is the most important thing that we're missing is our word for word set of directions that are going to program us, that are going to fix, program our brain so that our thinking is kind of on autopilot. I feel like for the most part, I have a lot of room to grow, but I do have that positive programming overall, that I know that something good's going to happen. And so as we do that, as we program our vocabulary to say, this is going to happen, those positive affirmations, telling ourselves, this is going to be a great day. I am going to fill in the blank. All of your affirmations, all of the goals, all of the things that you desire most and that you want to bring into your life, speaking those and reprogramming your brain, that's so very important. Let's see. Sorry, I missed my notes here. Let's see. Okay. Specific programming vocabulary. Okay, worded in a specific way that you can use anytime, that you can use that specific vocabulary, your specific wording to yourself to erase and replace the old negative programming, the negative programming that is in your mind saying that you are not good enough, you are not smart enough, or that you can't do something. That needs to be replaced with, I'm amazing, I'm fantastic, I can do anything that I want to do, and I'm going to do it today. And if I don't get it completely, then guess what? I'm closer too. So that negative, that replacing the negative programming with your positive, That is the missing ingredient. So most of the self-help books are on the right track. If you get one and you read through it and you do what they tell you to do, you follow their advice, it's going to work. It will work because you're moving in a positive direction. When you stop following the advice and their step-by-step, it's going to stop working. So nothing that you read once is ever going to be permanent, because you need to keep reminding yourself over and over. It's kind of like asking somebody their name. They tell me it and I forget it like 2 seconds later. So the self-help programs, they continue to work, or they will continue to work only with constant reinforcement. And they won't work by themselves. You will not find a book that jumps off of your shelf, right, Christy, that says, look at me, look, let's hang out today. Remember what I taught you? Why aren't you still doing it? You don't get that reminder. The book's not going to do it. And so whatever means you choose to make the change, whether it was at Sonia Dudley that she would put in replaying over and over. She would sleep with headphones in her ears, and it would replay on a loop her positive affirmations. So this morning on the drive, this is something I'm doing because my son started a new school. He's in 2nd grade, and he's the sweetest, really just a tender, kind-hearted kid who's easily distracted. But he has kids that are bothering him, and I worry about him. So what can we do? Can we control the other kids? No, but I can control what he goes to school with in his mind. And so on the way to the bus, I'm smart, I'm amazing, I can be kind, I will be kind, I will listen to the teacher, I am a son of God, I love Jesus. We say all these things and he repeats it. And we see this popping up on Facebook. It's been kind of neat to see different videos of parents helping their kids with that positive affirmation. So as we see how important it is as parents to do it with our children, we need to do it to ourselves and do it every day. And so however you choose to do it, if you stand in front of the mirror, if you have it on your phone, type it up and make a screenshot so that becomes your wallpaper and you see it every single day or multiple times a day. You have to first change your old programming. The years of conditioning, however old you are, I'm going on 44, I'm 44. Let's just still say that. That's a lot of years of conditioning telling me either my positive or my negative self-talk. I had a lot of outside influences that said, you're fantastic. But my own internal sometimes is a little bit, it's not nearly as positive as the outward front that I always put on, or try to anyway. But it's kind of like a farmer planting carrots and hoping for corn. If you are looking for success and there's a goal that you want to reach, then you better not tell yourself anything contrary to that goal. Everything that you say and talk to yourself needs to be focusing on reaching and achieving that goal and having the belief that you can. So that's chapter 3.
Awesome. Thank you. Chapter 4 is all about new discoveries, and it really just spends a lot of time comparing our brain to a computer. So, which is, kind of bizarre because I've never thought of my brain as a computer. But on page 37, he talks about a personal computer uses a floppy disk. Well, it doesn't really anymore, but you know what he's talking about. To record the program and the information, which the keyboard feeds to it. In the human computer, the floppy disk is our subconscious mind. Everything we experience is recorded, programmed into our subconscious minds, which is crazy scary because there are some not cool things probably programmed in my mind that we are working on getting out. And I have really been amazed. I've been working on things from this book for probably 3.5 weeks now, and going through my affirmations. I have them written down, I have them recorded. I've really been blown away by how it's becoming my natural thought. Like, it's driving my husband crazy, but he will say something negative and I replace something positive with it. And we were dropping Isaac off at the airport on Sunday, and that's what Rob said something, and I said something back, and he goes, I totally love that your mom is replacing everything with positive affirmations. And I looked at him with that stink eye that we can only give to our husbands or our children, and was like, no, this is working for me. Did Deanna just go off? I think she just turned herself off. It's me and you, Vicki. She'll be back. But after we got Isaac out of the car, I was like, I'm a little upset with you that you would negate like what I feel like is really changing, because I used to feed into his negativity. He is a glass half empty kind of guy, always has been, and I would feed into it, and then I would start to feel anxious, and now every time he says something, I'm like, we're good. We have plenty of money, plenty. And he's looking at me like I'm the one that's in charge of Quicken, and we don't have plenty of money. Hey, welcome back.
Hey, sorry. Okay.
But it's working. It truly is working. So it just talks about, our mind is like a computer. So think of it. I mean, it's a learning active thing. And, when you put a file on your computer, you can delete it, but if you don't delete it permanently, I mean, I'm no computer person, but I think that I've had computers crash before, and I think everything's lost, and I can't even turn my computer on, and people go in and pull on my file, pull all the crap back out. Like, that's what happens in our mind. If we just kind of put it to the back burner, but we don't fully get it out, it will come back. It is like the negativity will come back if we don't fully delete it. So the obvious programs are the comments, questions, and statements which are made to us directly. We're told by our parents and other adults what we can and cannot do. We are told that we are good at what we are good at and what we are not. We are told how we look. We are told what to expect, what to believe in, how to act, and what to do or not to do. Because starting out as children, completely dependent on others, it is important to our survival to listen and to believe what others say. We learn to accept what others tell us, and we learn to believe it, which is true. I mean, we train our children that we're right, that everything we say to them is gospel, and you just better roll with it because we are the boss. And, and then we grow up, and then we have professors, and then we have teachers, and we have pastors, and we have people telling us what to believe. So now we're going to work on what's the truth in us, and how do we bring out the best in us. Deanna, you have anything to add?
No, I think that's great. Did you just go through chapter 5 because I kept losing my internet?
Okay. No, I was just still talking on 4. We better hurry up, though.
I know. Sorry about the internet. I connected to my phone, so hopefully that will be a little bit better signal. I'm not sure what's going on. I'll have to check. But yeah, I 100% agree with all that you said. Even the stuff I didn't hear, I totally agree.
The best friends are 4.
Yes. Okay, so chapter 5 talks about a kid not or wanting to play a musical instrument, but hearing that he had no musical talent. And so he heard that, and he heard that from people that he trusted in and that he believed what they said. And we have we don't really understand, and hopefully we're learning that, how much power we have over the people that love us, that are important to us, or that we are important to them, our children, our friends, and our family. So what we say makes a huge difference. We know that personally because we've been hurt or blessed by it. So, we've been living out with our super smart brains because we have really smart brains, and we have so much more potential than we even use. We know that that's scientific. We really don't use very much of our brain. So there's so much potential that we have. And imagine what we could do if we overrode those negative programs that are in our mind, just based on our history and the people that have spoken negatively to us and people that we thought their opinion mattered. What if we if we could override those programming and replace it with the belief and a refreshing new look at your life to say, look, okay, here's what I have in front of you. Here's what I have in front of me. Here's what I have available to me. Here is my potential. And this is where I'm going. And imagine losing, even if it's just for today, if you can only do it for today, losing the weight of all of that burden of self-doubt and negative self-talk. Lose it and just think, how fast could you run? How far could you go without that? Get off, let go of the shackles of old habits and old conditioning and self-doubt. And I think it's really important, me personally, to remind myself that, for us to live at this high, to expect that we're going to have high days every single day, guess what? We won't. There will be stumbling blocks. There will be things that come up. But as long as we keep our vision forward, always moving forward, and keep those positive affirmations and continue with our reprogramming to make sure that we understand that we're worth it, we can do it, and we have the potential, then we will feel that burden being lightened. We will feel that, and we will know that, and we believe it. So we have a little bit of bad programming, and we need to get rid of it so that we can achieve our goals and get our hard drive rebooted so that it's on a positive affirmation programming.
Yes. And I think you're talking about failing. I think that's something that a lot of us in this industry are worried about, failing or what people will think of us. Sarah Robbins, if you haven't read her book, Rock Your Network Marketing Business, I think is what it's called. Did you get it?
Yeah, it's on my nightstand.
But her thing that she says over and over is fail forward. So too often when we fail at something, we feel like it throws us backwards, like magic, like you're running and you hit a wall and somebody's like, no, your products suck. And you hit that wall and you fall down and you're like, shoot me now. I don't want to call somebody else. Fail forward. So you hit that wall. And if you fall down forward into it. Like learn from what happened. Was it your message? Was it whatever it was? But as long as you learn from every failure, you will continually fail forward. So I've been trying to remember that. Like, don't be afraid of failure. Just learn from it and go on. So I'm going to touch on homework, and we will post this in the page. But you should have all already written down your negative thoughts. Vicki, I don't know if you watched the video. I know you haven't gotten your book yet, but and I know a couple other people that have just joined in that haven't gotten their books yet. But last week we talked about where the negative self-talk comes from. So whether it was a parent or a spouse. Okay, so write that down, and then make sure that those don't control you. So, for example, mine would say, my father was wrong. I am smart. I don't own that anymore. It is dead and buried forever. Visualize getting rid of this. Like I have actually visualized like taking this. I see his face. Like I see his face and I'm like, here, I'm smart. You can have this idiot back. I'm smart. So do that with your negative self-talks. Then voice record your affirmations, and there's lots of apps where you can record your affirmations and listen to yourself saying all these amazing things about yourself. You are not bragging, you are reprogramming. Each self-talk message you say each day not only gives you a positive perspective on the day, it also reminds you that every thought you think that day is important. The more days you focus on that one idea that your thoughts wire and change your brain, the more mindful and aware of your thoughts you'll become. My husband has struggled with this whole self-talk thing I'm doing because he's like, it's not true. That's not real. That's not realistic. I'm a realist. And I said, I am making it true. I am manifesting these things. And Dan and I were talking yesterday. We talk all the time. And I was like, you are not going to believe this. So I have this list. Here's my affirmations. I add to it all the time. But it's got things on it like you would expect. I'm a Ruby ambassador. I lead my team towards success. But I have things on there also. I am lovable. I read my scriptures every day. I work on Plexus 2 hours a day. I also have on there that I will get 6 new ambassadors a week. Do you know how many we got this week? 3, and this book says it takes 3 weeks to reprogram. This is week, I'm probably getting close to week 4. 7 new ambassadors this week. I also have in there that all my ambassadors will go silver. 3 people that I signed up this week said, I want to work the business. Tell me how I can make money. I've never in 16 months had anybody until Deanna say, what is the business part of this? How do I do this? I have 57 level 1 ambassadors. Never before have I had anybody ask me how to work the business, except Deanna. 3 in 1 week. So I am manifesting this. My Andrew, who is 5, who has played soccer for 2 years now, runs like a helicopter on the field and circles around people, kind of like a sheepdog, never kicks the ball. 2 weeks ago, we started saying every night, I'm great at soccer, among other things. I can score a goal. He has scored a goal in the last 2 games. You guys, you can't make this up. Record your affirmations. Do not feel like a fraud. Know that you are fully manifesting these things, that they will come about. Put things in there. You know, if there's somebody you feel anger towards, put there, I love that person, because that's what God wants us to do. So make this list what it needs to be. Read chapters 6 through 10. Try to have 3 perfect Plexus days. And next week we won't meet because a lot of us will be at Leaders Retreat. A lot of people are traveling and having different things to go to on Wednesday. I'll probably be making 500 Halloween cake pops. Deanna will be doing a million things at the shop. Everybody's going to be a mess next Wednesday. So just continue to do all of these things for 2 weeks, and then we will meet back. What is that? The week of Halloween. So the 2nd, November 2nd. Deanna, do you have anything else?
Nope.
Okay, I'm going to stop recording, and then Vicki, if you have anything.